couple of hours this morning sewing up all the raglan and the sleeves, rather, raglan sleeves, and, you know, constructing the cardigan. And I've picked up the stitches now and done round the neck. It just needs a couple of little buttons on here and it all sewing together, but it's almost finished. I'm trying to get all the little bits finished for the end of the year. I think it's going to need blocking because this bottom bit here keeps flipping up. So I will finish it all off, sew it all together, and then I am going to block it, I think, because I think it will look better. For those people that have been asking, I was using the Stylecraft Bambino print double knit, and the pattern is also a Stylecraft. I'll show you this picture because it's easier to see than that one because it's quite light. That's a short sleeve, and then they do a long sleeve. Like I say, it's Stylecraft, and the number, if anybody's looking for it, is 9503. It took one 100-gram ball. This one that I'm using is called Ragdoll, and the shade is 1238. This is just in case anybody fancies having a go at it. And that is what I've got left from a 100-gram ball. So, I mean, I don't know, I haven't measured it, or weighed it, I should say. I could possibly get a little pair of mittens out of that, I'm not sure. Because I think I've got enough with all the tails here to actually sew the garment together. So yeah, I could possibly get a small pair of mittens out of that, I'm not really sure. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that. That's another thing that I can tick off my list for the start of 2021. Good evening everybody, and welcome to day 23 of Vlogmas. Today is Wednesday. The weather here is, it's horrendous. It's freezing cold, it's blowing a gale, it's pouring down with rain, and it's just as miserable can be. As you can see, again, I'm in my craft room. I've got my big cardigan on because, again, I haven't been in here, so I've turned the heating quite low, and it's absolutely freezing, but it's always cold, our house, when it's really windy, because we live on the side of a hill, literally on the side of a hill. I'm sure some of you have seen the views from the back of our house. We're so exposed. So yeah, it's freezing cold. Again, Tim and I have had a very quiet day. We are going to watch, it's around, what time is it now? It's about 3:15 here, and it's already almost dark. So this afternoon we're going to watch a movie, and that's all we've got planned. Our son is coming round with gifts. He's coming to drop them off at the front door and picking up some other things. We was going to go round to their house yesterday, but unfortunately they were out and had different plans, so that wasn't possible. But really, other than that, and trying to finish off, waiting for my son to come rather, and trying to finish off a few bits and pieces, we are having a really quiet run up to Christmas, which is what we want. It's just what Tim and I need. Tim hasn't really done anything for a couple of days. He's completely relaxed. He's had a couple of mornings yesterday and today where he had quite a late lie in bed. He didn't get up till gone 9:30, which is not like us. I was up, but Tim wasn't. So yeah, so I thought I would come on. I've had quite a few questions, so I thought I'd come on and answer half of them tonight, and then see what come in for tomorrow, and then answer the rest tomorrow. And if I don't get round to answering them all, when I do podcast in the new year, obviously I'll make a note of the ones that we don't get round to doing, and I will answer them. So I've got a list here. Right, so Gail asked, where do I purchase my fabric from? Well, I purchase fabric from everywhere really. A lot of my fabric comes from the bobbin patch where I used to work. I mean, I am very lucky to live so close by to Angela, and again, if you've watched podcasts in the past of mine, I have done like little bits of filming in the shop, and Angela has got such a fantastically stocked shop. So yeah, and I do like to shop local because I like to support local people. But having said that, I do get them off the internet. I have a couple of people that I love on Instagram who have fabric shops that I purchase from them. I do get some from the States. And you know what it's like. My fabric stash is a little bit like my yarn stash. Wherever I go, if there's a fabric shop or a yarn shop, I sniff it out and I have to bring samples home. I just get it from everywhere really. But to be fair, mainly from Angela and from the internet. So yeah, and she also asked Gail how I keeps her chipper. I guess I've always been the same really. My parents was very upbeat. Was a very upbeat couple. And I guess it's just what I'm used to. I always think, don't get me wrong, I do have down days. Oh boy, do I have down days. And like everybody else, I just lock myself away. And, well, I don't know if everybody does that, but when I'm having down days, I usually lock myself away and try and keep myself to myself. But I do try and keep upbeat because, and more so as you get older, you think, well, what other choice is there? You've just got to carry on, stiff up a lip and carry on, haven't you? So, yeah, and I find that I get through things better if I have a bit of a positive attitude with it. So, yeah, I'm not always cheerful, let me tell you, Gail. There's times when, oh, I'm not. Right, and the next question, Jane asked, what did Tim and I do as a job? I was a dental nurse for 20-something years. Don't know how many, I'm not telling you. Yeah, I was a dental nurse for a lot of years and worked most of my dental years with the same dentist. Then Tim and I moved to America. Well, no, that's not completely true. The dentist who I worked for retired at 50. I think Mr. Franklin, who I worked for, was 56 or 58, something like that. So he took, you know, he retired quite early. And I had about a year off then. So I did a little bit of everything that I fancied. And then Tim and I moved over to the States for a few years. He went over there doing his job. And I couldn't work when I was in the States, so I didn't work there. Tim used to be an engineer. And he is now retired. So yeah, and Jane wants to know, will I go back to work when COVID's over? Unfortunately, when COVID hit, as you all know, many of you know, I work for my local fabric shop in Shaw, the Bobbin Patch, and unfortunately Angela, being a very small company, could not afford to keep me on, and so I was made, well, not made redundant really, but just let go, if you like. I don't think that I will ever go back to the Bobbin Patch. Not that I don't want to. I would love to go back to the Bobbin Patch, but I don't know. I mean, Angela and Alan are, you know, at near retiring age. And once Tim's had his surgery done and is on the road to recovery, Tim did have a list of things that he wanted to do when he retired. So, will I go back to work? Honestly, probably not. But if anything comes up that I want to do, I will only do it if I want to do it. Then maybe, who knows? I honestly don't know. We're just going to see how next year pans out and basically how the world is, the COVID situation, how quickly Tim recovers from his surgery, that kind of thing. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go back to work. Oh, here we go again. I itchy nose when I'm talking to you. I swear to goodness. It possibly could be something in the room, actually. Fibres or... I don't know. Right, and Angela asks, do I have a garment that I'd like to knit in 2021? Well, if I'm perfectly honest, Angela, I would absolutely love to knit my husband an Aran sweater. Now, I know that Aran isn't a difficult thing to do. I can do cabling, I can do Aran. My only problem with making sweaters with patterns in is I cannot get my head round how to decrease and increase and keep the pattern. So this is the problem that I have. I would love to knit him an Aran sweater, but realistically it probably won't happen. So no, there's nothing that I'd like to knit in 2021 other than if I was able to do an Aran sweater. My plans for 2021 is I would like to do more crocheting. I love crocheting. I do want to do some knitting, but I love crocheting. It's what I feel most comfortable doing. I seem to be able to start it and finish it quite quickly, whereas with knitting it seems to take me so much longer to do anything. And if I'm honest, crochet is my first love. It's definitely my first passion. So no, other than knitting a sweater for Tim, no, not really. And the last one I'm going to do for tonight is from Laura. And she has put how I got into all the different crafts. Well, this is a bit of a long story really. And this is why I'm going to finish on this one, because I'll be here talking to you all night. I'm already on 8 minutes and 41. My parents, I have a sister, and my parents and my sister had yarn shops. My mum was an avid crafter. She loved to knit and she did a lot of cross stitch. As I was growing up, it wasn't something that interests me. I got my own home and had my first child, Katie, my daughter. And I did sort of pick up the needles, and my mum did try to teach me how to make cardigans and sweaters for the children, but because she used to do it for me, I used to think, I'm not doing that, don't fancy that. And you know, you could kick yourself now, couldn't you, because we had beautiful, we had 2 yarn shops. We had one in our town, and then my sister used to live in Hyde in Cheshire, and there was one in her town, and the one that we had in our local town was huge. It was a massive shop, and you know, I could have probably had everything I wanted at a reduced price, but it wasn't something that ever interests me. So yeah, I've had crafting in my life probably for as long as I can remember, but then I had a mini stroke, a TIA, when I was 44, and I was a smoker. I used to smoke, and I went to see the consultant, and he said to me, you've got to stop smoking because you're going to kill yourself. You need to find something to do with your hands, find a hobby. And this is what I did. And Tim came to the hospital with me when I went to see the consultant, and somebody had mentioned that there was a yarn shop not far from us. So we went straight from the hospital, straight to the yarn shop, and I chose a few different yarns to make scarves, and basically that's it. That's how I got started. So I knitted for about 3 or 4 years, and then the yarn shop in my local town was doing a crochet workshop, and I've been on 2 different crochet workshops. The first one I went on, at lunchtime I put my hand up and said to the teacher, excuse me miss, I need to go home, I'm bored, I can't do this, I don't like it, and I want to go home. And I basically ended up paying silly money really for a class that I came home with over halfway through the lesson, because for some reason I just could not pick it up. So I left it for a few months, and then I went back on another one, and I did a little bit better. And then in that summer, Tim and I decided to go to France for a holiday. And I decided, because we was going to go, we drove in our car, we travelled in the car. Because we was going by road, I decided that I'd take a crochet hook with me and a couple of balls of wool, thinking that that's all I would need. Anyway, we set off on our travels, and we got going, and I'd only been going about 3 hours, and I thought, I'll have a go at this crochet malarkey. I'd got a book with me that was telling me what to do, and I'd struggled for so long to get the hang of crochet, and I sat in the car on the way to Dover to cross over on the ferry. I think it was Dover we went from. I picked up the hook, I picked up the yarn, and I just whizzed away. I could just do it. And ask me how it come out, it just clicked with me. So I've been crocheting probably about 7 or 8 years now, but it is definitely my biggest passion. What else? Oh yeah, and the same person, Laura, has asked how I got into sewing, and I got into sewing because I got a job with Angela. When we came back from America, we come back to live in the same town, and Angela was looking for part-time staff. I had done some sewing, I had made a few project bags, and I'd had friends who I lived in America with who we'd done a few sewing projects together and such like. And when we came back, I suppose I did really, I had to earn some money. But I wanted a part-time job, and Angela was looking for a sales assistant, so I ended up working for Angela 2 days a week, who I was so lucky to work for, because Angela, she taught sewing, she's a quilter, so she does quilting classes, she does bag making classes, doll making classes, she's just, fantastic. And so Angela did teach me a lot of what I know. So yeah, that is how I got into sewing. I've been very, very lucky. Yeah, I've just been very, very lucky. It's just something that everybody's helped me with. No matter what crafts I seem to have got into, I seem to really enjoy. And I'm just so passionate about it all now. Yeah, there's not a day goes by. Well, that's not completely true. There might be the odd day that goes by that I perhaps don't pick up a set of needles or a crochet hook or come into the craft room. I haven't actually been in my craft room sewing probably for about 3 or 4 days now. I've been in and cut some fabric out and done some ironing and things like that. But I think what I'm trying to do is save it for when I'm here by myself and Tim's in hospital. You know, I'm trying to stockpile a few things that I can just come in and do and don't have to think about cutting them out and putting them together. Is just plain sewing and getting on with it. So yeah, that's it. So I have got more. There's another page and a half, so I will come back to you tomorrow and answer some more questions. I hope that's answered those for you. I hope everybody's doing okay. I keep getting messages on my phone saying that there's more news about the horrendous virus, and we're going into tier 4 here, and somebody else is going into lockdown on Boxing Day, and oh gosh, it's just getting all too much, isn't it? But yeah, I hope you all have a lovely evening. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve, so I'm sure if you've got young ones, they're all so excited. Oh, I remember that time only so well. My children I just loved this time of year. I still do. I still love this time of year, but I loved it more so when my children were smaller, because it was just so much fun, wasn't it? Anyway, I'm rambling. So for now, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go downstairs, make myself a nice cup of tea, Christmas tea. I'm going to put something nice on the TV, and we're just going to cozy up and have another nice evening. So I shall see you all tomorrow. Take care now. Good night.